Right now, I look like the stereotype of somebody that is a bad person you should hate, right? Okay, first, I'm going to explain to you, not on a superficial level, why Islam is so liked by the left. And there's several different reasons. First, I'm going to tell you that Ilhan Omar is not a Muslim. She's about as Muslim as the IRA is Catholic. Now, a lot of you might think that the Irish Republican Army is Catholic. They're not. They're communists. They've been communists since before World War II. Right after World War I, the Bolsheviks have been doing everything to disrupt Western society. The best way to do that was by infiltrating freedom fighter groups, especially in England. Then they started infiltrating groups in the US. But who was the biggest threat to British stability? Well, the people that the British were subjugating, which actually were Irish Catholics. Then they decided to seize on the moment and turn those people into radical communist terrorists. That's what the IRA is. Well, they're not doing that here in the US. They don't have to. They did that with the Puerto Ricans. They tried to, at least. But the Puerto Ricans were not oppressed. The Irish were definitely oppressed by the British. Millions of them died. Now, Ilhan Omar, why does she pretend to be Muslim? Why does she talk about Al-Qaeda and cite herself with it? Because it's very polarizing and it grabs a bunch of attention. And people will think, oh my God, she's a radical Muslim. And the more the right says things about it, the more the fucking retards on the left are going to be like, oh no, you're being yelled at by conservatives. They're not doing that to her. What they're doing is they're trying to be super nice to Ilhan Omar's audience. Ilhan Omar is a Somali that was taken to the Soviet Union as a child and radicalized in leftist communist ideology. Ideology is a spiritual pathology, especially because with communism, they don't just tell you that religion is the opiate of the masses. They replace God with the state. That's what Marxism is. Because you cannot replace that aspect of humanity, believing in the transcendent. You can't replace the human need to venerate and worship and recognize things as holy and sacred. That is why communism has dictators that are fucking worshipped. Now, if your Berkeley professor just tells you that, oh no, see, these people like Kim Jong-un and Castro and Pol Pot, they did communism wrong. That's because your Berkeley professor is a fucking narcissist who believes he should be that dictator. Anyway, the reason why the left sides with radical Islam is because of this. Number one, the left doesn't give a fuck about women's rights, ever. No. The left is not for women's rights. As a matter of fact, everyone that got hemmed up in Me Too was a beta male misogynist Democrat, a date-raping fucking little shit that spits into a crowd and runs away. Somebody that would tell you that any guy who looks like me and drives that is a fucking piece of shit. You know why? Because he's a piece of shit. Okay? Now, they never gave a fuck about women's rights. They never gave a fuck about women. They use people like they use minorities. The Democratic Party has used minorities for a long time. They still do. And they play on encouraging ignorance. Even on the Disney Channel, they make fun of Chinese kids on this show called The Proud Family. They made racist jokes about kids who did all of their homework for doing their homework. This is programming through the Disney Channel. And then in the next scene, because someone was being a dick, the cartoon character said, I bet your teacher was a Republican. That is programming. Now, why would the left, the true left, not the superficial people that are fucking stupid that don't realize that they're just pawns in the system. Yeah, they're pawns. When you're regurgitating a bunch of bumper stickers and psychobabble and can't think for yourself, and when you're challenged to think for yourself, say shit like, we don't need rationality or reason or logic, we need feeling. It's because you're a fucking retard, okay? Now, the reason why they support Islam is because of this. I'll give you an example. In 15 of the countries that I've operated in, 15 of them, there's a fatwa service. That fatwa service means you pay an average of $5 to $30 a month so you can text an imam or a sheikh your little dilemma, and that imam or sheikh texts you back dictating a fucking decision for you. Any decision. The most asinine bullshit of decisions, because you are forbidden to have a conscience. You are forbidden to have any type of moral compass. You are not to think for yourself. This is why it's so easy to get people to blow themselves up. Now, why would they support a spiritual pathology that prevents you from having a conscience? Because these people support a spiritual pathology that lets you believe that truth is relative. The left wants you believing that there's no such thing as truth. There's your truth, and then there's my truth, because they believe in bullshit. And they want you to believe in bullshit, okay? They don't want you thinking for yourself. They want your brain to fucking hurt. Because, oh my God, am I feeling guilty for thinking for myself? That's how freedom of speech became a left-right issue, because the freedom of speech isn't important because it lets you challenge your leaders or write in the newspaper or cite and right wrongs where they may be. The freedom of speech allows you to know who you are and where you are and where you fucking stand. That is the greatest threat to a totalitarian regime. That is exactly why freedom of speech is dangerous to people who want to hold on to power forever. Okay?